Mine is the only voice.
Wow.
What have I been doing?
Lay down my autonomy.
After that, it got very dark very quickly.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Cults to Consciousness. I'm your host, Shelise, and we just came over from Alt Worldly discussing Jehovah's Witnesses' upcoming conference, leaked videos. Part 1 is over there. If you're just now joining, this is the first time, don't worry about it. You can go back and watch the first half after this. Thanks for being here, Jake.
Hey! Wait, am I here? Oh, let's see.
Yes, you are. You're frozen, but I can hear you.
Why am I frozen? You know what I'm gonna do?
don't know.
I think it's this freaking setting on my face.
Jake is
can't figure out
frozen.
it. I'm
If you
frozen,
came-
but I'm here, everybody.
If
Can you hear me or no?
came here, I can hear you. If you guys came
Okay.
over here from Jake's channel, welcome. Thanks for being here. If you're just now tuning in, happy to see you guys live. Make sure if you have any questions, comments, drop them in the chat below. Jonathan is upstairs starring those. He'll be putting some up on the screen. We want to hear your thoughts and opinions. Jake is, there we go. Now you're not frozen.
That can't be right. Let's not do that. You can see the puppy pad on the ground for the
Oh,
dog.
that's so funny. So it's okay. While you figure this out, Jake, I'll give everyone a rundown. We just did some videos, or we reacted to some videos over on Jake's channel. If you're not familiar, he is former Jehovah's Witness. He talks about Jehovah's Witnesses on his channel as well as other culty things, especially where cult tactics meet politics. So if you're interested in that, you can go check out his channel and subscribe. He is one of the first people we had on way back in the beginning. We did a whole series on Mormons versus Jehovah's Witnesses, and it was so interesting to see all of the similarities and the ways in which they're basically sister religions. We've kind of touched on it before in our interviews here, but we wanted to bring him back on. We asked you guys, hey, who's your favorite ex-Jehovah Witness content creator? And Jake's name came up quite a bit, as well as some others who we've had on recently as well. So we wanted to do another collab with him. And when he saw, I should have brought it downstairs, that we actually got a flyer. We were door knocked by the J-Dubs, and we got a flyer for the upcoming conference that's happening next week, I believe, or in 2 weeks, for it's not conference, convention. I call it conference because that's how the Mormons say it. Their big convention. He was like, oh my gosh, I got some leaked videos from the upcoming convention. We should blind react to them. So I'm really excited to see what he has for us here. I think he is back.
Yes.
Hey Jake, are we back?
Smaller than ever. I don't know why the camera angle is all different and weird, but
you know
don't worry
what?
about
It's okay. It is okay. We are here and we are ready. Thank you guys for
We're here.
joining us. We appreciate you being here. So let's just jump right into the first video.
Heck
Are you
yeah. Now,
prepared?
Is it still
Sorry,
there,
we're just
or
going
do I
through
need
technical
to?
difficulties. Oh, I think you need to add it again.
Okay, my bad. Here we go. It disappeared when I disappeared. So this
okay.
this is a new. This is basically an attempt to see if we can get you to join Jehovah's Witnesses, because this is a new tool that they have released.
Okay.
They're gonna encourage their members to show people in the ministry.
Okay.
So just imagine that you have no preconceived notions. Why
No
do you
preconceived
believe?
notions.
Yeah.
So this is a missionary tool.
That's exactly
proselytizing
right.
Tool.
Preaching door to door.
Okay, sounds good.
Why do you believe what you believe?
Deep question.
In many cases, it may be a matter of what your parents taught you, or simply of where or when you were born. So if you had grown up in another place, or a different time, you may have developed a very different set of beliefs. But does the truth about God really depend on when or where we live? Does it seem logical that multiple conflicting beliefs about God could all be true?
Hold on. They're trying to bring logic into this? Hold on. They're onto something here. If you actually paid attention to this and you're like, you're right, it's not logical. I was born a Jehovah's Witness. What are the odds that that is the right one?
This is the thing. Like, why are they doing this?
Hold on.
This doesn't seem like a good strategy for them.
It does not, because I remember thinking growing up, wow, I am so lucky that I just was born into the one true religion on the what are the odds of that? And they use it against you because then as you get older and if you think about leaving, they're like, would you really do that to your pioneer ancestors who died crossing the plains for religious freedom for
Ooh.
you?
Yes, that's such a good thing. And that's what my parents said when they realized that I was leaving is they're like, your grandparents and all of the, you're going to do this to your whole family of all the sacrifices they made. And it's like,
Yes.
and I literally said this to my dad. I was like, don't you think it's a little convenient that like you just happened to be born into the truth? And he was like, yes, I am very fortunate that that was the case. Like,
I
okay.
cannot wait to see where this goes because how are they going to bring actual logic in the beginning here and then flip it? Let's find out.
We'll see.
Is it possible that the truth is something different from what you were taught?
Is it possible?
Just because someone
It's
claims to
possible.
represent God does not mean that his claim is true. The God of the
This is
Bible
an interesting
once
video.
told one of his worshippers, "The prophets are prophesying lies in my name. I have not sent them." For centuries, people misrepresented what the Bible says about God
No way.
and used religious teachings in an effort to control people and to make money. With good reason, then, the Bible says, "Prove to yourselves the good and acceptable and perfect will of God."
I feel like that doesn't apply.
If you are
Doesn't have to do
searching
with anything.
for the truth about God, why not examine what the Bible says for yourself? Doing so does not mean abandoning your culture. Millions of people from all over the world and from different backgrounds and cultures have discovered that the Bible contains the truth about God. They have found a sense of purpose in worshiping God in a way that they know pleases Him. To learn more
Okay.
about what the Bible
Yeah.
says on this and
Yeah.
many
Hold on. So what did that have to do with Jehovah's Witnesses? Nothing. That could have been for any religion on the planet. It's like just read the
I
Bible and be a good
know.
person. Yes. Do that. Has nothing
Yeah.
to do with joining Jehovah's Witnesses.
It's a great idea. Do read the Bible and be a good person. Okay, so that was really wild. I'm surprised. I didn't watch the whole thing, so some of that was new for me. The thing that I have talked about on my channel before, it's something that I've noticed some cults do is they'll bring up a common criticism of their religion and then not address it. Like, not refute the argument or anything. We might see this in some of the later clips, but they will bring up that people say it. And just by the fact that they bring it up, that kind of deflates the criticism in the eyes of the members. Like, oh, well, our religious
They
leaders
talked
probably
about
wouldn't
it.
be bringing this up if there was any merit to it. So the fact that they're addressing it means it must not be a problem.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
it
think
very
it's
much
just
does
so
mean.
it's so funny because they bring in things that make sense. So you go, yeah, yeah, but then not enough to make you really think it through. Like from our perspective, it's so clear. We're like, yeah, that's what we're trying to tell people to do is use your brain and think, what are the chances that I was born into the right one? And to question your beliefs and to think critically. But that's as far as it goes. It's funny that when you're in, you don't see it for what it is. And when you're out, it's so obvious.
Yes. Yeah, and the fact that anybody could make these claims is an indictment of the religion because anybody can say that they have the truth. And no, we're really the ones that have the truth. Have you considered if you were born into the right religion? I also like there is there are several kind of preconceived what's the right word for it?
Notions?
You have to accept you have to like accept some premises going into this because it's all like, do you want to know the truth about God? A lot of people are looking for the truth about God, but that kind of presupposes that you believe that there is just one God, that there is such a thing as the one true God, that he wants to be worshipped, and that you need the Bible in order to worship that God. And so they're kind of like filtering out the undesirables with this video, because there's like there's a lot of people who would see this and think like, no, I don't agree with any of this. But I guess like if you are tantalized by this, then that's great, because if you're willing to buy that video, you probably are willing to believe all kinds of things.
I do think that's interesting what you just pointed out, because it's assuming that the people who are watching this are Christian, although they clearly portrayed people who were not Christians. And so
Yes.
the way that they're framing it as, don't you want to believe the true God and don't you want to know the true Bible? Is like, well, what if I follow the Torah? And I don't want to look at your Bible. Maybe I'm in a completely different part of the world and I want nothing to do with your version of God. Maybe I'm Hindu and I worship multiple gods. And it is interesting
Right.
that they filter it down to that specific viewpoint to clearly target somebody. I mean, and they're not stupid. They're
Yeah,
bringing in people who are low-hanging fruit that would potentially go, yeah.
yes. Yes, exactly. Because it's like, if you are a polytheist, you would be upset by that. I also, like, they said that it gives them a sense of purpose, but that doesn't mean that it's real. That doesn't mean that it is real purpose in your life. It's just a sense of purpose. And you can find a sense of purpose in any number of places. Like, you can find a sense of purpose volunteering at a homeless shelter. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that actually benefit society? No. And Jehovah's Witnesses will have you, not spend so much time volunteering at the homeless shelter, because that's temporary. God's going to get rid of homelessness for everyone all over the globe forever. So the best way to volunteer is to preach door to door and make people Jehovah's Witnesses. And so all of the things in your life that you might feel give you some kind of purpose now, like, the group will have you move away from those things. Yeah, no, you can only feel purpose going out in service and knowing you are going to live forever as a good witness. It's true. Oh,
Okay.
and like we were talking about in part 1, I noticed
Yes.
that all of the races, like, everybody is wearing like a racially specific costume, essentially.
Totally.
They love this. The only way that they know how to show diversity is like showing all this, like, kind of what they would call native garb, which I find to be a problematic term, but that is what they would say.
Native garb. Yeah, I noticed that. It was all very specific, but then the white couple that they showcased were in Hawaii, and because there's palm trees and a fake background and a flower in her hair, and I was like, oh, wait, great way to portray white people. It's just funny. That's what they chose for
Yep.
Americans.
That's great. That's us, just always on vacation.
Oh, so good.
Thank
Okay,
you.
let's
Hey,
go to
I
a
may have had you
question.
endure my weird crotch and floor earlier, but at least we're making good points on the stream.
It's fine. We're here. So, Christine, thank you so much for the super chat. We really appreciate your
Yes.
support. One of the worst things cults do to make people believe they own exclusive rights to God. Yeah, for sure. Where they're like, we have the truth. Only us. Only us. Guys, I just interviewed someone who came from a cult where it was more of like a new agey type of cult, and they convinced everybody that they were exalted beings, not even human. They called themselves Mother and Father, Divine Mother and Divine Father, and they were secretly drugging people with this sacred elixir. And again, it's how do they get people in? They convince them that they are the only ones with the truth. They are the only ones who can save the planet, and you can help save the planet by joining us on our $9,000 retreats and buying tiny little bottles of holy water for $111.
Well, it's repeating numbers. It's spiritually holy.
It was very intentional. So, anyways, my point being, it doesn't even have to be religious based. Anybody around the world can claim that they have the one true truth, the truthiest truth out there. And
Yes.
people want a sense of purpose. People want a sense of belonging. People want stability, because floating around on this big globe is a little scary if you don't really know what's going on. And so people cling to their ideas. They cling to someone who says they have it all figured out. And I can understand that, because that's human nature, to want to feel safe and
Yes.
secure. And so that's why it's so easy to fall into these, because you want that sense of belonging. So for them to use that as a tool, I think is smart, because it's very vague. It's very, let's just think about this for a minute. They want people to be open to hearing the message of Jehovah's Witnesses by saying something so logical that any normal person would be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally agree. By the way, if someone does a $111 super chat, they're a real champion. But yeah, no, I totally agree. Anybody can make these claims, and they are not necessarily religious, but it is
Mm-hmm.
kind of make some broadly agreeable statements that are not controversial, give people a sense of community, because like you said, every human on earth needs community and a sense of purpose. Everybody wants to feel like they belong. Everybody needs a tribe. And so what cults and high control groups do is they offer a shortcut to that, because forming a real relationship with another human being takes time and effort. It's messy, it's difficult. But if you can just be like, oh, I'll just join this club and there's a built-in community, then you don't actually have to try that hard. And as long as you follow all the rules, then you get to stay in the club. And
And
it's
one more
kind of, so it's just,
point.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was done.
Okay. And one more point with that is when you get into a group where everyone has all of the same thoughts, does all of the same things, and it's very controlled in that sense, you get this false sense of safety of, oh, well, they must be safe people because they're in the truth. That's how it was in Mormonism. Oh, they're
Yeah.
Mormon, you can trust them. And we have shown time and time again that's not the case. That's where predators hide. They choose it specifically because they know they won't be scrutinized or have a magnifying
Yes.
glass under what they're doing, because everyone just assumes they're God's true people because they're in this religion, and that can get really scary and dangerous. Just had to add that.
I'm really glad that you said that, because you're totally right. Making somebody, like being in a group and you trust everybody implicitly in that group is really unhealthy, because then you're not on guard against potential
Mm-hmm.
predators. Like, you have this deference towards people in your tribe, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's even seen as like bad to be critical of people within the group. And it's like, this is your brother, this is your sister. Why are you assuming all this negative stuff about them? So yeah, so you can see how that can be weaponized, like intentionally or unintentionally.
Yeah, and in the interviews we've recently done with former Jehovah's Witnesses, uncovering the Australian committee, what was the Australian
Oh, yeah,
Royal
the Australian
Commission?
Royal Commission. Yeah.
Yeah, about how they looked into all these different groups and uncovered cases of immense sexual abuse that was swept under the rug. The predators were just moved to other congregations, and a lot of that, they found a lot of that in Jehovah's Witnesses. I think it was like 1,800 cases or something. So we
Yeah.
know that it's true that within religions, it has been proven the statistics show that there are more predators who hide within the confines of religion for those reasons, and others, of course, which we won't get into. Let's get to a couple more questions if we have any, and then we'll do the next video.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had Christine already. Thanks, Jonathan. Lissa, welcome back, Lissa. We appreciate you so much. I've been a Christian since I was 5 years old, but I was also taught to question everything. I was raised by my Orthodox Jewish grandparents for many years. My faith is my own. Love, love, love that. I love when people can have a sense of beliefs and they feel confident and comfortable in their beliefs, and they are not being controlled or manipulated by anyone or anything or any corporation. I think that's great when you can find something that truly works for you and your critical thinking is still well online to notice any culty red flags that may or may not come up. So thank you, Lissa.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Wow, J-Dubs are actually doing door-to-door in your area. Yeah.
There's
In
a
Austin.
weird perception among some ex-members that they just don't do door-to-door anymore, and it's just not true. I don't know why, but like, people will say this sometimes. They do more like cart witnessing, they call it, where like they stand by a kiosk of their literature.
Right, I've
And
seen
so
that
people
too.
see that more. You'll see them like downtown or on campus and in heavily populated areas. And they do that in addition to door to door. But the door to door hasn't stopped, but the membership is stagnating. And I do think that they are having trouble getting people to do it, especially after COVID, where it fell out of, people fell out of the routine of doing it. But it's still definitely a thing. I just wanted to say that for my own pedantry.
Oh, thanks, babe. I was like, why is he coming down? This is
Hey!
this is it.
Yes. Oh
So you
my
guys
God.
can see.
And to think that you're here doing this instead of at the real convention.
I don't need to go.
You
I
can
got all the videos now.
No, it's true. You can just watch the movie at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love these graphics. Hold on, let me.
They're amazing, and they are going so hard for the Jesus movie, which I did not want to subject Shelise to. This is the thing that we've had to learn on my streams the hard way. Is this is the most boring movie ever made. It's a total dud. It is not worth. Is not worth going just to watch the Jesus movie. I promise.
Oh yeah,
Now,
I was just gonna say
Mormons
they
also
came
made
to.
it? Yeah, I'm sorry.
They came to our door in Los Angeles and Van Nuys a few times. And then they found us here in Austin. And I was like, man, they are doing a thing. And so many people are like, I got that same flyer.
I don't
In
think I
totally
realized that
different
you were in
states.
Austin now.
Yeah, we moved. We moved
I
like
love
3 months
Austin.
ago. So it's very recent.
Oh, fabulous.
Okay, so let's do the next video.
Yeah. Do you want me to spoil anything or no?
No, don't spoil anything.
Okay, good.
We'll all be surprised together.
That's right. I think you click it, right? Yeah, I can't do it.
Oh, I have to do it? Sorry.
The temptation to view pornography can be much
shit.
more difficult to resist when a person is weak, perhaps because of being
This guy's very
lonely,
loud for some reason.
tired, or under stress. And Satan knows this. And Satan, as
Hold on. Lonely, tired, or stressed. Yes, I agree. Those are great times to orgasm because
Anybody?
they literally reduce the stress. The cortisol drops, the dopamine, serotonin skyrockets.
Yeah.
It is a great time to feel good. So, but friends, that is not Satan. That is your body saying, hey, give me a little boost of feel good feelings. Doesn't mean you have to have sex, but all I'm saying, it's not Satan.
You're wrong. It is Satan
Oh, Jay.
breaking your
we
game,
have
your
seen,
brain
is a
chemistry.
wicked opportunist. So he may tempt a person when he is weak, just as he waited until Jesus was hungry before tempting him to turn stones into bread.
Did Jesus
Wait.
get horny though?
Wait. Are we admitting that human sexuality is as normal as being hungry? Because I stand by that. It is a basic human function that we should not be ashamed of.
They are accidentally admitting that, but it is weird
Whoopsie.
because they will say like, "No, it is natural. God wants you to have sex with your legally binding wife. You went and you had a ceremony and signed the legal documentation, and now you're married, and now you may orgasm." But that's the only time God, Jehovah God, wants you to go to the state courthouse and sign your local paperwork, just like it says in the Bible.
Yeah, Crystal, what's up, Crystal? Yeah, that's the thing that's tricky. And we don't need to go too far down this rabbit hole, but the fact that people are so up in arms about you have to be married first, you have to be married. The whole point of marriage as it started was just to own women. It was just, now I own
Yeah.
you and your property, and legally on this piece of paper. Like even within the Bible, if you harm a woman, it's a property crime against the man. So I think it's silly that we put these boundaries on it. And that's not to say I'm telling all the youth out there, go have sex with everybody before you're married. Whatever you choose to do is whatever you choose to do. But demonizing sex outside of marriage, I feel like is so harmful because just the whole idea of marriage as a property thing in general, and I believe I'm married, so I'm not like I don't believe in marriage. I just want people to understand where it actually came from. Why would God be so upset if you had sex outside of this thing that man created? You know what I'm
okay.
saying.
Yeah, I do, and I am also married. I'm legally wed. We followed all the protocols.
Legally
Me
wed.
and my ex-Jehovah's Witness wife. And what I find really weird about it, shit, I lost my thought. I had a thing I was going to say, but I don't remember.
The state or it being like a legal thing and man-made and having sex
Yeah.
outside of the confines of something that was man-made. Is that ringing a bell?
Yes. Well, I knew you were hiding your power level as that was a great rant you went on about how it started as property ownership for men. That is true. And I think that they don't want to acknowledge that part of the Bible. They also don't want to acknowledge the parts of the Bible where men are able to have like multiple wives and just arbitrarily for no reason. Jesus is like, not anymore. No more of that. Like, that's another just kind of uncomfortable, weird part of the Bible that they don't want to deal with. There's like
Unless you're
rape in the
Mormon.
Bible. Unless you're one of the Mormons, yeah.
Sorry, that's what Joseph Smith was like. It says in the Bible that you could have multiple wives, and then the law was like, no, you can't do that. And then other people broke off, and that's why we talk about polygamous Mormonism here. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, like, they make it seem like you're just this kind of like salacious horn dog if you just like have sexual feelings outside of, I don't know,
Confines
like
of marriage.
the marital institution, and it just isn't true, and they know it's not
Mhm.
true. They will acknowledge it when it's convenient, but it's another thing where, yeah, you're this kind of normal feeling that you have to have an existential crisis about it, and now God is on one side watching to see what you're going to do, and Satan's over here, he's watching to see what
Satan's
you're going to do.
attacking you.
Everyone's watching your crotch, like everyone was watching mine earlier. But
Okay. I need some context. Is it a sin in Jehovah's Witnesses to masturbate?
oh yes, you're definitely not allowed to do that.
What if
They
your partner
have-
is next to you and you're married?
That's a good question. I don't know. Let's ask the elders. let's write the branch. Are
Let
you
us know in
allowed
the chat.
to? I think you probably are, but no, that's a good question. I genuinely don't. I don't know. I don't think so. Okay.
So self-pleasure
Christina,
at all
I want
is not a
Christina to weigh in on this. This is a dirty question. So this is
thing.
good.
Your wifey?
This is the wifey.
Wifey.
Okay,
let
so
us know.
masturbation is bad. Right, for Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
Right?
Like-
Still? No, but within marriage, are you allowed to masturbate?
Self-pleasure next to your partner?
Self-pleasure next to your partner.
In Jehovah's Witnesses.
In Jehovah's Witnesses.
I mean, they just allowed oral and whatnot, so probably not.
That's true. We just got
Just barely. You
Sanctions.
just barely got the green light for oral within marriage?
they just got the green light for oral.
Yeah.
It's true.
So I have a feeling
wow.
that
A lot of witnesses have been going
Maybe.
rogue for a long time and just got yeah.
they got the okay.
Yeah, that's like when
Wow.
Congress comes in after and approves something the president did. Like it's like, okay.
Like bombing a country.
Oh
Sorry, this is
no.
extreme.
I know. Sorry. News. News.
So sorry.
Um,
Now we're going to watch together a video
Oh.
dramatization. And as
Wait.
you watch,
How did that?
that just started. Real
Oh,
quick.
Christine H's comment is right, by the way.
They call it self-abuse. That's what they call it in Mormonism too, especially within the miracle of forgiveness, and they say that masturbation can turn you gay. So there's that.
Oh, wow. They don't do that anymore. They used to, like the old Young People Ask book. I was going to say, we saw earlier in part one of our stream, like a teenage Jehovah's Witness looking at a book called Young People Ask so that she could study tactful ways to tell her classmates that she's not down with the gays. That was the whole purpose. And there is a chapter in that book about masturbation and how bad you should feel and how terrible it is and all the things you can do to try and stop it. And so like that, any person within Jehovah's Witnesses is like going to be directed to those articles if they struggle with that. My hands are full,
Okay.
so I had to do air quotes with just my hands.
So I will say, because I have seen some people in the chat, they're like, no, it's wrong. You can have your beliefs about it. I do whatever you want. I don't think that it should be up to a religion to tell you what to do with your body, how to please
Yeah.
yourself, pleasure yourself, or somebody else. They certainly should not be in the bedroom of a married couple If the whole thing is keep yourself pure and chaste or whatever, sure, but once you're married, you should be able to do whatever you and your partner consent to and are comfortable with. And they did try to do that in Mormonism in the 80s, say that oral sex was no longer allowed, and people were like, hell to the no, heck to the no. So they reversed it because they're like, yeah, you're right. But I think it's so wrong to control someone's sexuality in whatever way.
Agreed.
Obviously, it needs to be adults and consensual. So let me lay that out there. Things that
Yeah.
are legal, put it that
Yes.
way. But I think it is very wrong to try and weaponize a basic biological function of how we get other humans to this planet. Okay, let's continue the thing.
Note of how the brother imitates Jesus' example when facing temptation.
Thank you for taking on some of the congregation responsibilities. Yeah. We're praying for that too. Okay. Hey, thanks,
His
John.
wife has cancer. That's
All right, bye.
established in a previous video.
Hey, babe. It's about time for your meds.
My favorite one.
Hey, buddy. So what's your homework for today?
Math?
You need some help?
No, I think I'm okay.
Sex ed.
Hi everyone, we're back in town and guess what? We got our house and we had everything we wanted. Isn't her walk-in closet, heated swimming pool?
I'm excited. Chris and Nikki coming back in town.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
How long's it been?
About 15 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Kayak. Let's see.
These women are barely wearing anything. How did this stuff even get on my feed?
Hold on. Okay. So they choose to start the scene with him and his, who appears to be dying wife. And
Yes.
because he got on social media, now he's scrolling and he's in the doom scroll, and now he sees women and immediately just goes to sexual thoughts, which sure, you might, but all of a sudden it's like, oh no, not the female figure. Oh, how do I
Truly.
handle this? My wife is right there.
Oh, there's a woman on my phone. Like,
How did
it's
that
really
get
weird.
there?
And when I first watched this, I had to like pause it and rewind and like zoom and enhance. Like, I wasn't sure what I was even looking
Yeah,
at.
what did
because
he
it's
see?
just like
I didn't notice anything.
barely for a second, he scrolls past what looks like a club and you see like women dancing. And you see like, but you just see like the top of their torso for a second. Like, you don't see the whole thing. And that was just enough to be like, and that guy was like, I have a problem. I got to get out of here. I don't think that guy should have an Instagram. I don't think he's cut out for it.
Oh no. Okay, let's see what happened.
He's remembering Satan exists.
Wait, oh, I was like, how did we get here? Okay.
These
the
women are
phone do?
barely wearing anything.
Oh no.
How did this stuff even get on my feed?
This is possible.
Hey, Dad. Maybe I could use your help here.
Sure, yeah.
Dad, you look
Who
horny.
was
What's
that
going on
supposed
with
to
you?
be? What was that cut to?
Okay, so
mean?
that was Jesus and Satan. What was confusing about that? He
Oh.
thought about when Jesus was in the wilderness and Satan apparently materialized next to him in a black cloud of smoke and started to tempt Jesus. And that is what he is flashing to. Ah, this is Satan tempting me to, I guess, masturbate. I don't know.
Okay,
But that is
got
what
it.
we
And
saw.
his kid shook him out of
What you
it.
got there for, buddy?
Yes, his kid was like, hey, what's going on?
Hey, babe. You think I could bother you for a cup of tea?
Wow.
Sure, babe.
He's so rude. By the way, their houses are always nicer than ours. Like, these JWs always live in the nicest place.
Oh, that darn social media again.
Alcohol.
Why am I still getting these posts?
I didn't
because
even
you
see
keep
what you
liking
saw.
stuff. That's how the algorithm works.
Satan always tries to exploit our natural desires.
Or it's just
like
social
he did
media.
with Jesus.
If you are a son of God, tell these stones to become loaves of bread.
That's like Instagram.
There are desires that we have that are natural. But satisfying those desires in a selfish way would not be right.
Selfish way.
It is
Selfish
written,
way.
man must live not on bread alone, but on every word that comes from Jehovah's mouth.
Is Jesus British?
If this app could
He's
lead me to
Australian.
damage my relationship with Jehovah, it's not for me.
That's a weird one.
Okay, so he's deleting his social media app because it's too tempting and it would be way too selfish to masturbate. Is that the message here that we're getting?
I guess that is the message. I find it almost confusing because they're not even showing anything that appears like salacious or lewd in any way. So it really seems like he's just like seeing a picture of like people white river rafting and being like, oh, and like, because they're just cutting it in such a way that is not very well made. But I think, yeah, like you're going to see advertisements that are more salacious than that, literally everywhere. So I don't think it was a great reenactment from that standpoint.
I feel like it's funny that the talk was about, I'm gonna say corn with a P for the
Yes,
YouTube
sorry.
gods. It's fine. But then they just show him scrolling through Instagram. Looks like
Yeah, like a normal
Instagram.
social media thing.
And then make it seem like he's being attacked by Satan because how did this get here? And I think it's just a way to put people on edge and always be like on guard and oh no, is that Satan? Is that Satan trying to attack me? Oh no, I just saw an advertisement for something. That must be Satan trying to attack me and make me think bad thoughts. Well, if you say pink elephant, everyone's going to think of a pink elephant. It doesn't mean Satan's attacking you. It just means it's showing up and you can choose how you react to it. But if you have such an aversion and a fear toward anything that resembles a human body, then that's not a good thing because you're hyper focusing. I always say that Mormonism is basically a sex cult. It was founded on polygamy. It was founded on having lots of sex, having lots of babies, and now it is so hyper focused on sex because you have to stay chaste, you have to stay virtuous, you have this, that. Your worthiness depends on it. And if you focus so hard on something and you become so obsessed with it, of course it's going to turn into certain distortions. Of course it could turn into something bad, but then they blame you instead of blaming them for putting so much focus on it.
No, that's exactly right. You nailed it. That was a great rant. And
thanks.
Like, yeah, a lot of things that like ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, we often say that JWs are a sex cult, but it's just that they're an anti-sex cult because they want to control every aspect of your sexuality. But it's all just very restrictive. Like, you're not allowed to do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. And, you know, even within the marriage confines, I mean, it seems to me, Jenny Bloom pointed this out, but witnesses do this thing like at the conventions where you'll follow a character through a few different scenarios. So like we follow this couple through a few different scenarios and the wife is ill. She has, I think, cancer. Maybe they don't say for sure, but I think that's the implication of her having like a head covering on. And so the implication is that she is not as sexually capable of performing her wifely duties, as they might say. And so that is like subliminally, like witnesses will understand that that's the commentary. They're going to be watching that and they'll pick up on those little dog whistles that the group is putting in there. But I don't know, it
Yeah.
kind of seems to me like that could be a conversation that you have with your spouse who's ill. Like, hey, are you okay if we handle it like this? You're sick, blah blah blah. But they don't even want that. Like they don't encourage communicating with your spouse. They don't
Right.
encourage open conversation about those things. It's just internalize this shame, and I guess just keep pray it away.
Or delete the app. Jonathan,
Or
can you
delete
bring
the app.
Christine's comment back up? Because I wanted to read that out loud if you can find it. And if it's the same Christine who just Venmoed me, thank you. That was so nice. I'm so honored. Christine said, they are trying to imply that he shouldn't be seeking his own joy or happiness if his wife is ill. J-dubs often make people feel guilty for having your own wants and needs. That's such a great point, and I think that really sums it up, that your happiness and again, this is a biological need for a lot of people. And I say a lot of people because some people are asexual, but for a lot of people, it's very normal to have those wants, needs, feelings, and especially within a marriage. And then you're still being demonized by saying you can't even self-explore, which I know some people think that that's wrong. I've had on a sex therapist who was Mormon and was excommunicated because she was giving correct, and I say correct because this is researched information on masturbation saying that it is a normal behavior, and she was excommunicated for that. And she's like, I am not going to lose my license and give out false information, and so kicked her out. So my point is, it's a conversation that has been studied, and it goes deeper than just what a Bible says or what your church is saying. I think it's worth looking into if that's something that you are personally struggling with mentally, being okay with or accepting, because I think it's just a way to control the masses. It's a way to get people to do whatever you want them to do. If you can control a basic need, like food, like water, like sleep, like sex, you can get them to do almost anything. You control their money, you control their time. And we see that time and time again in high control groups. They try and control your basic biological needs so that you'll do whatever they want. And so when you look at it from that perspective as a control tactic, things really do fall into place, and you'll see the manipulation and control that is at play here, not some bigger religious aspect, in my opinion.
No, I think that's very well said. I would also say that I have noticed a lot there are a lot of cults that specifically target men, like men's rights activist type groups, men going their own way type things, and the Andrew Tate types who are kind of selling their own little get rich quick schemes and all this stuff, and causing shame about masturbation is a big way that they go after men as well, is they prey upon that kind of religiously motivated shame that a lot of people have based on how they were raised. When, like what you said, it is a healthy, normal function of humans. But if you can cause people to just hate a normal part of themselves, then you can control them. And so teaching people to hate things about themselves that they can't control, telling them, no, you can control this, and if you can't, that's just because you're weak. That's why you need us to help you control this thing. Well, it's just this cycle of self-hatred. You hate yourself because you were told to feel ashamed of this thing. Where what you really need to do is excavate the shame behind it. And I had done some research for a project I'm working on, kind of along those lines, that showed that a lot of psychologists, there's been some research done. There's a lot of people who will report as being self-report that they are addicted to porn or masturbation. But when they talk to a clinical psychologist, they find out that they're actually not addicted. They don't have an addiction in the classic sense that you might have with any other kind of substance or gambling or another kind of behavior. What they have is shame. They have an internalized shame because of their religious beliefs. And that's not to say that your religious beliefs are wrong and that you can't have them, but it might not actually be an addiction. So I don't know if that rant really made sense, but that's all kind of stuff on my mind, and it's just a weird thing of like, man, this guy's got a hard life. His wife is like sick with cancer, and now he can't even like scroll Instagram. I don't know.
That was the other thing I wanted to point out was the huge leap there in the guy talking about corn and then saying, well, if you even scroll Instagram and want to pleasure yourself, that means you're going to watch it, which
Yes.
you don't have to watch anything to pleasure yourself.
Right, you don't have
to. It doesn't have to be a part of, if you don't want to do that, then don't do that. So I feel like it was just a huge, huge, huge leap to go from my wife is sick, I'm scrolling Instagram, I have to delete the app or else I'm somehow going to end up on a XXX website.
Yes.
That's why I was like, what, where are they going with this? Because he wasn't watching anything bad. He was just looking through Instagram. Let's go to some questions, and then I think we have one more video, right?
We do.
Okay. Question. Betsy, can somebody please explain to me what's going on, and are these current Jehovah's Witnesses or former Jehovah's Witnesses? I am not a former Jehovah's Witness. I am an ex-Mormon, and Jake here is former Jehovah's Witness, ex-Jehovah's Witness. He has a whole channel talking about his experience, and he goes over some of the propaganda and things that they release. And today we are talking about these leaked videos that are about to be broadcast on the convention, Jehovah's Witness 2025 convention in a few weeks. And so I am blind reacting to them. Hope that helps.
Perfect.
Okay, any other questions? By the way, your why I left video was instrumental during my wake up. Hearing your sincerity was a turning point. Look at that, Jake.
Oh, no, this is at Falling Tower, who is also in chat. And Falling Tower has a great Why I Left video that I definitely recommend people watch.
I thought he was talking about you. Well,
no,
that's
Falling
awesome.
Tower. And they used to be an elder. And so he has a really unique perspective. I definitely recommend people check.
Oh, awesome. We'll have to check that out. LQ, I think, LO says, I'm from Norway and I have a family who are Jehovah's Witnesses. Are there differences across borders in terms of how strictly they live?
There are some cultural differences. The rules, like the actual rules of the group, are the same everywhere. But you will find in some cultures, like the modesty standards in terms of dress and grooming. I've always heard, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that the standards in California or Florida, where it's more beachy and warm, are just like a little different than they might be where I am in Ohio. And there's some cultural differences. Like I was in a Spanish congregation for a while. And there were some elements of the group that they didn't take as seriously. But for the most part, it's the same religion everywhere, and everyone is kind of supposed to follow the same rules. But Norway is an interesting place to be because Jehovah's Witnesses are involved in a case that I believe is going to go to their Supreme Court about whether or not they get their religious funding back. There was a big investigation that kind of went on for a couple years, and they were stripped of their religious status because shunning to fellowshipping was deemed to be an abuse of human rights. The fact that like a child, a minor, can get baptized and then be shunned because of this decision they made when they, who knows how old they were. I was 14 when I got baptized, or kids who get baptized when they're 6 or 7. So that was deemed an abuse of human rights. So Norway, interested. Email me
Norway's
if you
doing
think
a
about it.
thing. I think it was also Norway, if I'm remembering correctly. We had on Chad Harris, who was on the Shiny Happy People documentary within the Institute in Basic Life Principles. I think he was in Norway, and they're like, yeah, you can't be doing that here. You guys gotta go.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. It is true. In Puerto Rico, the JWs are delightfully more immodest. That's
Yeah,
funny.
I would say that's the main thing you're going to get is different customs and cultures will sneak their way in a little bit, but that's more on the margins. And for the most part, like there's no pro blood transfusion sect of Jehovah's Witnesses, and like divorce is not allowed no matter where you are. Premarital
Some
sex,
things
all
are
like all the kind
all
of
the same.
Yeah, all the kind of stuff that we're talking about is the same everywhere.
That's funny that we're talking about the cultures. I think this is funny to note on the Mormonism side. If you follow along, you may have noticed that they are releasing tank top garments now, the undershirts,
No.
underclothing. So when I was growing up, my mom's shirts had to be, no lie, this long on her arm, or else she couldn't wear them.
Right.
Originally, they were to the wrist and to the ankles, and so they're just sneaking up, but they claim they changed it for hotter climates, although everybody and their mom are ordering the new garments that are tank tops, and they're showing off, look at these new clothes that I can wear with my new garments, although they still haven't changed the rules of shoulders are basically pornography. Walking
They are, by the way.
pornography.
A shoulder.
Aren't you getting turned on by this
I
belly
didn't even
shoulder
realize.
right here?
I have to admit I was lying
Cover
because
your
I didn't
eyes.
even think about that. I'm sorry. By the way, if this V-neck is too much for anybody, I can like hold this up. Yeah, no.
You're setting an eye trap for me, Jake.
A glimpse of stalking is considered shocking, certainly for a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh my gosh, a glimpse of stalking.
This
Anyways.
last video, I think, I haven't even watched the whole thing. I've heard people get mad about it. But
Okay.
it is a little bit about being an influencer and having a YouTube channel and posting
Cheers,
videos.
bring it on.
So this is kind of for us. They're talking about us.
All right, let's see. Did you already add it to the stage? Is that the new one or the
Nope,
old one?
I forgot that I had to do things. I'm removing that from the studio.
Work. You gotta work when you come on this channel. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
thought Jonathan was doing all the work. No, I forgot to do this part. Okay, I've got. All
Oh,
right.
hey, we got a super chat. Thank you, Esther. Really appreciate your support. Hold on. Okay. Yes, Fallen Tower was the first ex-JW I heard after I left the cult. I was so afraid to even look at, quote, apostate information even years after I left. Great stuff. Awesome.
Wonderful.
Thanks,
Love it. Yes,
guys.
he is the best.
Wait, is this another
Okay.
sick woman? Or is that the same one?
Okay, so yes, now we are going to be looking at the sick woman's experience, who's going through
Oh.
her whole. She has a whole situation going on that's different than what the guy's doing.
All right, let's see.
You like that story. I have so many more about your dad.
These are their witness
so
friends.
many more. I can tell you right.
But their witness friends are not very good witnesses.
Look what I found.
Oh. Whoa, that was you and Chris.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh, Pioneer School.
Mm-hmm. That feels like a million years ago.
Well, hey, listen. Thanks for bringing dinner over.
Of course.
Happy to do it.
But I gotta go get some rest. Y'all keep catching up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get some good rest, Shasha.
Yeah, rest up.
So you guys, you seeing Nikki's post?
Reading the Watchtower.
Man.
She's reading the Watchtower magazine, of course.
Hey, Sheila.
Hey,
How are you feeling?
not good. It's been a rough week.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, if it's any consolation, you look gorgeous.
Oh, girl, I don't know about that.
You do. You really do. Let's take a selfie. I'll show you. Then you will
Really?
know how gorgeous you look.
A picture?
Yes. Come on, get up.
Ugh, I'm a mess.
No, you look great. Wait. Make sure we look good. This would actually be a perfect post for this group that I follow. You should join. It's for witnesses, and we share stories about our personal health journeys and spiritual thoughts. It is very inspiring. If people could hear your truth, you would be an encouragement to so many people.
I don't think anybody wants to hear from me.
Shayla, you really need to think more of yourself. When was the last time you really felt heard? Cancer has taken so much from you. Don't you want to feel better?
At least they finally cast a good actress.
Hey, girl. Here's
I know, right? She could cry.
And a link to that social media page. I think your story can go witness viral.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to share my daily scriptural tip with you guys. Thank you so much for following all of my videos. Just
Hey everyone around the world, I want to thank you so much for all of your prayers and especially...
Hi everyone that may be watching. I just really wanted to share with you all my truth about this whole experience.
Updating friends and family is one thing, but this feels wrong.
Satan.
If you are a son of God, throw yourself down.
Satan tried to get Jesus to draw undue attention to himself.
You must not put Jehovah your God to the test.
No matter what I'm going through, I need to focus on what Jehovah promises and not bring unnecessary attention to myself.
Huh.
I hate this. I want to die after seeing that video. I took more notes on that than anything.
So that video, the woman who was taking the picture and promoting this group, it wasn't even an ex-Jehovah's Witness group. It was people wanting to share their truth and their story with others.
Right. Okay. So from what I gather, their friends who they had over are witnesses, but they are witnesses who are like kind of falling away. They're falling away from the religion. They're not following the JW lifestyle properly. And so they're getting obsessed with material things. We saw them buy a nice house earlier and post about it on social media. And now they are saying...
That was them.
That was them.
Oh, it's all coming together. And they're like, we got our house, walk-in closets or whatever it was. And they're like, how long has it been? 15 years? So maybe they were just fellowshipped or something and they came back. Okay.
I don't know. I think it's like they moved and then came back. I don't know. But it's, I think the important thing is like they're considered to be witnesses, but these are like people who aren't, they're like on the edges of the congregation.
They're lax.
And so they are, they have become a corrosive, corrupting influence. Mm-hmm. Bo is tangling himself up in all the wires. So what okay. So if I can give a recap of what that was, it's like, they have their friends over. The wife is sick. She has cancer. And so she goes into the room. Her friend comes up, tries to comfort her, and is like, hey, I know about a support group that you could join where you could kind of talk with other people who are going through this. And it's nice and encouraging. And the witness with cancer is like, well, I just don't know about this. Updating family and friends is one thing, but I don't know. And she even says at one point, I don't think anybody wants to hear from me. And apparently that's the correct attitude to have. Because, yeah, that's what the group is trying to say in this video. You shouldn't be posting in these kinds of groups and posting about your own personal experience going through things in your truth, your perspective. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. But I find it really, really gross. For myself, like this video really pissed me off because my ex-JW husband went through cancer several years ago in support groups. Self-worth and finding internal happiness is crucial.
And the one before that too, that was my thought, was they're not allowing her to reach out to friends and get support. They're not wanting her to find support online because who knows what worldly things she might find on social media. That's what it feels like.
Yes, exactly. And you know, for me, I have chronic health issues. Like I was diagnosed with Crohn's when I was a Jehovah's Witness kid. And I, now after leaving, like right after leaving, I had to get surgery. And I am now an ostomate. I have an ileostomy. And that was a huge change to my life and my body and just everything. And being able to, like, that was one of the things that the nurses did is connect me with support groups and stuff. And that is genuinely so important. It's not selfish. It's not the same thing as like posting about your bougie house on Instagram, which I also don't even necessarily think is like bad or immoral or anything. But to take that away from people and kind of underscore that you shouldn't talk to people about this. It's undignified. And it's totally gross because this video that they made is exploiting somebody's health problem for content, like in order to draw attention and make the group look good. So it's kind of like in an effort to say why you shouldn't do this thing, they made the thing. I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, I think the subtext or the nuance was you should go witness viral. You'll go witness viral if you tell your
Yeah,
story
witness
because
viral.
you have been through a lot. And so they're trying to demonize becoming, getting eyes on them for having a story. I don't know because it's so contradictory. On one hand, they're like, go
Yeah.
out and proselytize and door knock on random people's doors, but don't share your experience online. I think they're just trying to keep people off the internet. Obviously, your husband's over there deleting Instagram
Yeah.
because it's too temptational. Is that a word? Tempting.
I liked it.
Too temptational is my new word.
Temptationary.
So they're just trying to keep people offline because that's where you're going to find information about the group, or people talking about their feelings could lead to feelings of doubt, and you're supposed to doubt your doubts and don't talk about that. So maybe that's what it is they just don't want people talking to each other about their experiences because people might wake up and realize other people are also having bad experiences.
Yes, I think that is so true. Like when you watch people's videos and like the kind of interviews that you do on your channel and you hear somebody's emotional experience about something they went through, and they kind of go through the warts and all, it's so humanizing, and they don't want that. Jehovah's Witnesses do not want to be humanizing, and they don't want to acknowledge the little nuances. They don't want people to talk like people. Like we talked about, everyone kind of sounds the same to the point where in all of these groups, they kind of sound the same. Like Mormons and Witnesses kind of have this same fundy accent, somebody mentioned in chat. And so just the idea of like using your own words and keeping company with people of different religious backgrounds. I think one of the cautionary elements that a witness was supposed to pick up on is like, oh, people are talking about spirituality in this group. That can't be good because what? You're going to hear about some Muslim that prayed to their God and they had a good experience? What's that going to make you think? That God isn't even real, or people might have different experiences with God and it's not just you? Like,
Those the
they hate
best
it.
super chat. You see, making a super chat was too temptational.
You have to give in to the temptational.
And then they said how much they loved
situation.
you, Jake. That's awesome.
Aw,
Jake is
well,
awesome.
thank you. Although I noticed that
Just
I get
waking
$2 and Falling Tower got $10 for super chat, which that's like, okay, what? I'm like, and I can't do math, so I might be wrong.
Why couldn't they make Satan look cool and sexy and not like a weirdo?
That was another thing. Okay, I wrote this down. That whole thing had nothing to do with the Bible example they were talking about because, like, she says Satan was tempting Jesus to draw unnecessary attention to himself. And no, he wasn't. Then they showed the thing from the Bible. And the thing that he says is, I will not put my God to the test. Like, Satan's tempting, like, here, jump off a cliff and see if the angels save you. That's a little different than posting your cancer story to like a Facebook group or something. It's lazy. They just don't like people being on social media, but they can't tell them not to. So they have to make that make sense, actually, that he gets more money because he's older.
Yeah, not recently. I want to say a few years ago in General Conference for Mormonism, they were saying, stay off social media, don't go on social media, it's, full of temptation or whatever. But then they flipped their tune and they were like, hey guys, how about we do a social media takeover and everyone post what you're grateful for? And it was like #grateful or whatever it was, because they wanted to flood the internet with, I mean, it's so genius. Free advertising for their church, right? And using the specific hashtag that all links back to Mormon families looking perfect and happy. And I mean, that's a discussion for another day. Lissa, again, you're so kind. A dear friend of mine is Mormon and wears garments here in Hawaii, and I have seen her in a wide shoulder tank. The garments don't show. Yeah, they're starting to release those cut off garmies, and some people are just choosing not to wear them anymore, which is a huge rebellion, and it's very interesting to see where that's going to go.
That is
Again,
huge.
discussion for another day. This has been so awesome, Jake. Thank you for
Yes, wonderful.
bringing the material, for doing all the things,
Did it.
watching the long videos so we don't have to, and clipping them out for us. It was so
Yes.
interesting to see and dissect. And guys, again, if you only saw this video over here on our channel, make sure you go watch the first hour of our conversation where we looked into 3 other videos over on Jake's channel. Link is in the description. You can go subscribe to him and see what he's doing over there with Jehovah's Witness stuff and other culty things in the social political atmosphere. So,
That's
oh my
right.
gosh, Alyssa, you are too kind.
Whoa!
$50. I was with my ex when I was diagnosed with cancer at 19. Oh my gosh. His dad was Catholic and his mom was JW. He took the news much better than she ever did. Luckily, I met my husband and he got me out of the toxic relationship. 31 years now and I still have cancer. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, Alyssa. Thank you so much for always being such a big supporter of our channel. And I'm sorry you're on that journey. And I'm so happy that you found a supportive husband today who got you out of that mess.
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your truth. A thing that you will not hear in Jehovah's Witnesses.
Thank you for sharing your story. And that's what we do here, share stories. So awesome. Yeah, make sure to go check out that. Do you have any other final thoughts, Jake, before we go?
I don't. Thank you for having me on. This was great. And thank you for guesting on my channel. It was very useful, I think, to get a reaction from somebody who has a similar background, but not the exact same background.
Yeah.
I really appreciated your perspective. And also just thanks for all the great interviews you do.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course.
I appreciate you seeing me, and I will accept that as I'm trying to do better at taking compliments and not being the Mormon. Oh, stop. Be humble.
I know. I
Trying to do
have the
better.
same issue.
Thank you guys for watching and tuning in live. We love when you guys come in and leave those comments. If you're watching the replay, leaving those comments helps boost the algorithm further. So we appreciate any way that you can interact with the post. Of course, hitting the like button, subscribing too. Again, make sure to check out Jake's channel over at Altworldly. And I think that's it. Until next time, follow your highest excitement, be conscious, and be well. Bye-bye.